Today me and Mama are going to be reading some devotion. So first we're going to do Hope for Each Day, 365 devotions for kids. Okay, so today is the 20th. Like a mist. What is your life? You are a mist that appears for a little while and then vanishes. James chapter 4, verse 14. Several years ago, a university student asked me what had been my biggest surprise in life. Immediately I replied, the shortness of life. Young people usually don't think about this, but as people get older, they begin to realize that it is true. Almost before we know it, the years have passed and life is almost over. If ever we are to live for Jesus and share him with others, it must be now. Jesus said the night is coming when no one can work. John chapter 9, verse 4. But knowing that life is short should also comfort us. Before long, we'll be in heaven. Whenever trouble comes, we know it will soon be over. The Apostle Paul wrote, we have small troubles for a while now, but they are helping us gain an eternal glory. That glory is much greater than the troubles that what we see will last only a short time. 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 17 through 18. Enjoy every day of your life. Don't live as if this life will continue forever. It won't. Live instead looking forward to heaven. So now we're going to go to the back of the book and find the Bible verse we're going to do today. It says 1 Samuel chapter 1, verse 1 through 18. So 1 Samuel. Okay, here's Samuel. 1 Samuel, okay. Here's the first one, and then we're going to read all the way to 18. So here's first. Do you want it?
That's what we use. You want me to read some of it? Then you read some of it?
You can read it.
Okay. Okay. So 1 Samuel chapter 1, what was it? Chapter 1, verse 1 through 18? Okay. It says, the birth and dedication of Samuel. There was a man named Elkanah who lived in Ramah in the region of Zuph in the hill country of Ephraim. He was the son of Jehoram, son of Elihu, son of Tohu, son of Zuph of Ephraim. Elkanah had two wives, Hannah and Peninnah. Peninnah had children, but Hannah did not. So each year he would travel to Shiloh to worship and sacrifice to the Lord of the heaven's armies at the tabernacle. The priests of the Lord at that time were the two sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas. On the days Elkanah presented his sacrifice, he would give portions of the meat to Peninnah and each of her children. And though he loved Hannah, he would only give her one choice portion because the Lord had given her no children. So Peninnah would taunt Hannah and make fun of her because the Lord had kept her from having kids. Year after year, it was the same. Peninnah would taunt Hannah as they went to the tabernacle, and each time Hannah would be reduced to tears and would not even eat. Why are you crying, Hannah? Her husband would ask. Why aren't you eating? Why are you so downhearted because you have no children? You have me. Isn't that better than having 10 sons? Once, after a sacrificial meal at Shiloh, Hannah got up and went to pray. Eli the priest was sitting on his customary place beside the entrance of the tabernacle. Hannah was in deep anguish, crying bitterly as she prayed to the Lord, and she made this vow: O Lord of heaven's armies, if you will look upon my sorrow and answer my prayer and give me a son, then I will give him back to you. He will be yours for the rest of his life, and as a sign that he has been dedicated to the Lord, his hair will never be cut. As she was praying to the Lord, Eli watched her. Seeing her lips moving but hearing no sound, he thought that she had been drinking. Must you always come here drunk? He demanded. Throw away your wine. Oh, no, sir, she replied. I haven't been drinking wine or anything stronger, but I am very discouraged, and I was pouring out my heart to the Lord. Don't think that I am a wicked woman, for I have been praying out of deep sorrow and anguish. In that case, Eli said, may you go in peace, and may the God of Israel grant the request you have asked of him. Oh, thank you, sir, she exclaimed. Then she went back and began to eat because she was no longer sad. So what do you think about that Bible verse, or that chapter?
I like it because it talks about Hannah and Hannah not having kids, and the main thing was that Hannah was really mean to Hannah because she didn't have any children.
And we know that this is the chapter of 1 Samuel, so eventually Hannah had a child named Samuel, and that's what this book is about, how he ruled. Alright.
And then we have the 30 stories for girls with God-sized dreams. I think we should do Florence Nightingale.
Okay. I think it was like in the beginning, wasn't it?
No.
Let's see.
But that's 10. Oh, that's not 10. Florence Nightingale. She was a nurse, and she was born in 1820 and died in 1910. She was 90. The passionate servant. Do you know what you want to be when you grow up? Not everyone does at an early age, but God has designed each one of us with at least one special talent. God gave Florence Nightingale the gift of helping others with God's help. Florence dedicated her life to helping sick people. Her influence forever changed the way people practice medicine today. Florence grew up in a very wealthy family. Her father made sure that she was well educated, and she learned many subjects, including Latin, Greek, French, history, and math. The young ladies at that time were expected to get married to rich and important men and raise a family. Florence, however, realized that God had a different plan for her. She wanted to help sick and poor people. When she was just 17 years old, she wrote, God spoke to me and called me to his service. But when Florence shared her dream to pursue nursing, her family disapproved. Nursing was not considered an acceptable job for a young woman. Yet Florence knew this was what she wanted to do. She continued to help sick and poor people who lived in a nearby village. Waiting is not easy, but God sometimes has us wait because he has a perfect plan for us. And Florence had to wait several years before she could be trained in nursing, but she eventually enrolled in a school in Germany, returning to England for a few years later. Florence got a job at a hospital where she was quickly promoted to superintendent When the Crimean War broke out shortly after, Florence gathered a group of nurses and sailed to Crimea in Eastern Europe to help sick and wounded soldiers. The conditions left Florence shocked and saddened when she arrived. More soldiers were dying from the spread of disease inside the hospital than from battle injuries. A nearby cesspool caused the water to be contaminated. Patients lay in their own filth. Rats and bugs infested every room. The hospital lacked up and medical supplies were low. Florence later recalled beggars in the streets of London were at that time leading the lives of princes compared to the life of our soldiers in the Crimea when I arrived on the scene with 36 nurses.
What would you have done under such conditions? Would you have given it up because it seemed impossible to make things right? Florence did not give up. She was dedicated to helping those in need. She knew that God called her to do this task. Want me to read this one? Okay. Right away, Florence got to work. She enlisted patients who were well enough to clean inside the hospital. She created a kitchen that allowed healthy meals to be prepared for patients who could only eat certain foods, and she set up a laundry service so that they would have clean linens. She even started a library so that patients could pass the time by reading. Her patients nicknamed her the Lady with the Lamp because she would often carry a lamp as she worked late into the night, tending to the wounded. With the changes that Florence made, the death rate in the hospital dropped. Many men were now living instead of dying. Using her experiences, Florence wrote a report for the British Army that explained how to improve hospitals. It caused major changes in the way hospitals around the world were run from then on. After the war, Florence returned home to a hero's welcome. The Queen presented her with a valuable brooch and prize money. Florence used the money to help sick people. She established St. Thomas's Hospital and the Nightingale Training School for nurses. Because of Florence, nursing grew into an honorable career for women.
While in the Crimea, Florence had received an infection that left her in poor health. Despite this, she wrote books and papers around the proper way to run hospitals. From her bed, Florence conducted interviews and welcomed important visitors. She even gave advice during the American Civil War on how to manage field hospitals. Florence died at the age of 90. She at one time said, "It is such a blessing to have been called, however unworthy, to be the handmaid of the Lord." Florence inspires us to find our gifts and use them to serve God. And over here it says, because of Florence, nursing grew into an honorable career for women. That's what it already said. And then the prayers. Dear God, thank you for giving me a unique gift. Help me to learn about the way you made me so I can use that gift to help people. Amen. And tomorrow, what we're going to do, we're going to read. And this we're going to read. Free but not cheap. And also tomorrow after this, we're going to read. Let's see. 1 Samuel chapter 3, verse 1 through 21. So we're going to check 1 Samuel chapter 1, verse 1 through 28 off. And then tomorrow we're going to also read, I kind of want to read Mary Kay Ash.
Do that tomorrow. Okay. Alright. You want to turn it?
Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.